this is an old part of the world where borders have changed repeatedly over many years. Populations have changed. Putin understands that. The populations in eastern Ukraine were Russian. The majority of the population on Crimea was not Ukrainian. And the non-Ukrainians were being treated as second and third class citizens. They were being punished in courts of law. They were at a tremendous disadvantage because they were being subject to Ukrainianization. And the Russians didn't like it. And that was the purpose of the Minsk Accords. Those were drafted with the object of holding Ukraine intact, but addressing these critical issues to satisfy Russian sensibilities. Well, we now know that the Minsk Accords were a fraud because Chancellor Merkel made that very clear. Macron has admitted it was just to buy time to build up a bigger Ukrainian army whose goal was to attack Russia. Hello, I would have done exactly what Putin did. And I would not give up an inch of territory right now that has a Russian living on it to the Ukrainians again. So he doesn't want to go further west if he can avoid it. He really doesn't, because he doesn't want to manage and govern Ukrainians. He wants them to do that for themselves. The problem is, how does he get that done as long as the Zelensky regime is in Kiev? And that's a whole nother question. We're wasting our time. And we have no historic or current or past strategic interest in Eastern Ukraine. Who controls Eastern Ukraine is of no consequence to us whatsoever on a purely strategic level. I think this is an entirely fraudulent war perpetrated by people in Washington, London, and Kiev. And that's a puppet government that we set up. There are lots of people that are behind this, but I think as far as NATO goes, I think NATO is pretty much dead man walking. I think it'll go out of existence. In January, before the invasion commenced, I was interviewed, and you can look it up, by Dmitry Simes, as a Russian who ran the Center for National Interest. And he asked me the same question. I said, if we embark on this, it will be the end of NATO. But NATO won't end until you see the current governments go away. And you're going to see that happen. I think you're going to see Scholz gone. I think you're going to see Macron go, and I think you're going to see changes in Scandinavia. The real question is what happens in Britain. I don't know that. I can't predict that one. I just don't know. But I know the Germans and the German population is definitively turned against this Ukrainian war thing. I don't think they know the whole story because the press has studiously avoided telling the truth. But enough is coming through now. They have enough Ukrainians on the ground in Germany that they do understand what's happening. So I think Scholz will go away, and the Christian Social Union in Bavaria, which is the sort of Bavarian wing of the Christian Democratic Union, has said, either you get on board and we end this war, or we're leaving the union with you. So I think things are really going to change. And France has always been a bellwether for change. You know what Metternich used to say, if they sneeze in Paris, Europe catches a cold. Well, I think Europe's caught the cold.